Video title: Early Explorations of the New World. In 1514, 3 Spanish conquistadors sailed across the ocean, confident they would conquer whatever land they found. They found Florida. Florida won. The first one planted his flag in a swamp log and declared Spain the rightful owner of everything he could see. A mosquito the size of a hawk disagreed, landed on his helmet, and drank him dry in 4 seconds. He collapsed like a puppet with its strings cut. The second conquistador looked down at his fallen comrade and said, and I quote, he said he felt a pinch. Now, you'd think a map would help, but the only map they had was drawn by a man who had clearly never been to Florida. It showed a dragon eating a compass and a little drawing of treasure right next to the word here. One conquistador studied it carefully and announced that according to the document, they had already arrived. The other pointed out that they were standing waist deep in water. The first one, somehow alive again despite being visibly drained of all bodily fluid, called it tactical swim training. Later that day, they encountered a local man sitting peacefully on a tree root. 2 armored conquistadors marched over, dropped gold coins in the mud, and offered these shiny discs in exchange for safe passage. The local picked one up, turned it over, handed it back, and informed them it was worth less than the acorns he was sitting on. He tossed them 3 acorns. The conquistadors bowed deeply and thanked him for his generosity. One asked what the acorns cost. The other said nothing. They were humbled by this humble transaction. That night, giant mosquitoes circled their campfire like buzzsaws. One conquistador swung his sword proudly and declared his armor impenetrable. A mosquito stabbed straight through his breastplate, through his helmet, and drank directly from his nasal cavity. He tried to scream but had no vocal cords because, well, he was a skeleton, just muffled humming noises coming out of a skull. His companion nodded knowingly and said, "Right, no throat bones. Classic Tuesday." By morning, the 2 surviving navigators were arguing over the map, which they were holding upside down. One insisted east was that way. The other pointed out that east was where the alligators lived. The first one said exactly, shortcuts. Then the third conquistador strolled up wearing a crocodile jaw on his arm like a leather glove and called it a fashion statement. Very chic. And so, these brave souls wandered off into the in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. He promised the Queen of Spain he'd find a shortcut to India. He did not find a shortcut to India. He found an entire continent nobody in Europe knew existed, looked around and said, "Yep, this is definitely India." He called the people he met Indians. They were not Indians. They were standing on a beach they'd known about for thousands of years, staring at a sweaty man in metal armor who was lost out of his mind. Columbus planted a flag in the sand and claimed everything he could see for Spain. This included sand he was standing on, trees he couldn't identify, and an ocean he had just nearly drowned in 3 times. The locals watched this happen with the calm patience of people who had seen hurricanes less dramatic than this man. Then came the conquistadors. These were men who wore 60 pounds of steel armor in tropical heat because nothing says conquest like slow cooking yourself inside your own uniform. Hernando de Soto marched 400 men into what is now the American Southeast looking for gold. He found mosquitoes. Enormous, furious, prehistoric mosquitoes that had never tasted Spanish blood before and decided it was a delicacy. His men swung swords at insects. You cannot stab a mosquito. They tried anyway. Historical records indicate they tried very hard. De Soto demanded that every tribe he encountered hand over their gold. Most of these tribes had no gold. They had corn. De Soto took the corn, kept asking for gold, and marched deeper into swamps where his armor rusted onto his body. He became the first European to cross the Mississippi River, which he achieved by accident while chasing a rumor about a golden city that did not exist. He died of fever on the banks of that river. His men, afraid the locals would find out he was dead, stuffed his body into a hollowed-out log and floated it downriver under cover of darkness. That actually happened. A conquistador was buried in a log. Meanwhile, Ponce de Leon was in Florida searching for the Fountain of Youth. He heard about it from locals who were almost certainly messing with him. He never found it. He did find a Calusa warrior's arrow, which struck him in the thigh during a battle he started. He sailed back to Cuba and died from the infection. The Fountain of Youth remains undiscovered. The fountain of getting shot in the leg by someone whose home you invaded, however, was located successfully, and so Europe discovered the New World, which had been there the whole time, fully occupied, with working agriculture, cities, and zero need for anyone to discover it. The explorers wrote home about their incredible findings. They were mostly describing things they were seeing for the first time that everyone already living there had known about forever. History calls this discovery. The locals called it Tuesday. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.